But what I did get to be part of myself, and I know that among the associates, it's the truth. I think it's been very enlivening for them, and certainly for me. I've been just, and as I said, I wish I'd had more time for it and had known more about people's schedules. But, we don't expect everybody to be informing everyone all the time. I would like to have spent more time with the artists. I didn't really spend a lot of time with them. It's interesting that at dinner or at lunch, whatever, people mix it up some, but not. I mean, the writers more, hung together more than you might ideally hope, and I think the artists did too, and maybe the composers, but there's still been interchange, certainly. And, what can I say? You always wish for more. I think there have been a couple projects that people have been involved with across disciplines. Maybe not quite as much as you might ideally dream of, but that's, it's fine. There are a couple of high energy people who have involved, people from the other arts with them in their work. So I wish I myself had been able to do something with somebody else in one of the other arts, but there just hasn't been time. I mean, there's always less time than you think there's going to be. And then, as I think I've pointed out to you before, without wanting to sound spoiled or ungrateful, the writers have to spend much more time preparing. I don't know, the composers probably do too, because they're preparing, not comparing. But I think the composers maybe had to spend a lot of time with their technological stuff. I don't know. But, at the end of the day, I go home with manuscripts to read. And it's something I teach in an art school. I teach at the school, the Art Institute of Chicago. And we're always trying to remind the administration that of almost everything there, maybe not everything, but certainly compared to the painters and the sculptors and so on, we bring home a lot of work with us, and they don't. They come in and look over the shoulder of someone and say, hey, move that line, or that's too gray. And I go home with a novel, So, and again, I don't want to sound ungrateful about it, but, that's one of the things that sort of cut down on the time that there might be for interchange, just because there's work to be done, but that's okay. I was expecting us to be able to be out in nature a little more and actually using it, writing spontaneously, going to the beach and, using some of that. And it's a question of time, and time, cars, a lot of that stuff, takes a lot of coordination. When are you going to do it? It's very interesting. One of our associates said that even though some people are delighted with the amount of time they have for work, because it's different from being at home if you've got a full-time job, and here you have 3 weeks to indulge yourself and your imagination. One person said, I actually got less done here than I do at home, because there are the few days of the week when I'm not teaching, I just hole up, don't see anybody, much more of a kind of McDowell or Yaddo kind of thing. And she wasn't sorry she was here, mind you, but she said, just ironically, she felt like she had actually done less of her own work. And then again, that's if you don't count the work she did for the, quote, class, unquote, or whatever you want to call it, which is, after all, her writing, but it wasn't necessarily what she came to do. I think she might have been just as happy in some ways, although she liked it here a lot, but maybe she should have gone to a McDowell or something like that, to do her own work, which she's sort of struggling with right now. So it was kind of interesting to hear her say that. I thought, well, McDowell brings you your lunch in a basket. You don't have to talk to anybody. Maybe that's what you needed right now. I mean, she had a good time here, but this is sort of interesting to hear somebody saying, I got less done than I would have actually if I'd stayed home, or less of certain things. I got more of other things done, and of course there's the camaraderie and so on. So I got less done than I was hoping to get done, which again, it's no big deal. I mean, I've got time to do it at home, but I was expecting to really get a lot of my own work done in the afternoons. And somehow by the time you get finished with, again, all the manuscript reading and the appointments with people and everything, you have less time of your own to work. And Jakarta had its own television, priceless. This cost this cost that, and this other stuff is priceless. The time at dinner and at lunch and everything is priceless. So I'd much rather have that than another 3 weeks in which to do my own work. I could stay home for that, But so I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying I was surprised. The first couple of mornings, I really did get some very good work done. And then some of that also had to do with my own particular thing. I mean, I brought with me a novel that I'm very uncertain about and ended up giving it to someone to read. So I was less inclined then to work on it until I heard back from her. So those are personal, that's just idiosyncratic. I love being able to talk to people at dinner and at lunch. And I also, on the side, have to say, Chef Tom is wonderful. The food has been terrific. And I think that kind of greases the wheels a little bit, You're feeling very good. You're feeling very well taken care of, I think is what that means. Didn't have to cook. I like to cook, but I'm very happy not to have to think about it. Don't have to shop, which in some ways I like a good deal less than cooking. Don't have to consider it. Never go hungry. I'm sort of astonished. You can go into the kitchen at any time and take anything you want to out of the refrigerator. That's lovely, But what it does is it adds to the sense that all of you are here to make us comfortable, and you really succeed with it, I think. I know that at lunch today with Anne, we were talking about whether or not the associates would like to have their computers hooked up in their rooms, and that's a different question, that didn't affect the master artists. Funny calling myself a master artist. I've enjoyed that a lot, I mean, I'm going home to be just another writer, so I've loved being here, feeling myself a master. But, we had a long, interesting conversation with Anne about why you don't have them hooked up and whether they should be and whether they shouldn't be, and it's a complicated conversation. From my point of view, though, I feel like everything was given to me that I possibly could have wanted. And there is that lovely feeling of coming in and actually finding food in the refrigerator, food enough to get started with, having the car, which has just been hugely useful, for being, visiting places around and getting to see the town and all the rest of that. So it's been absolutely wonderful. I couldn't dream of anything better than that, really.